Amazon is deploying its AI shopping assistant Rufus to all US app users. Walmart doubles down on automation in their distribution centers, unlocking efficiencies and throughput gains. Vans persevere with their metaverse initiatives, whilst Boohoo develop their proposition for content creators and influencers to help propel their brand and products. All of this and much more on this episode of The Retail Show. Well, hello and welcome to The Retail Show, the weekly podcast bringing you useful news with relevant views. My name is Oliver Banks, I'm your host. I am a retail transformation specialist, working as a consultant and advisor. I'm also author of the book Driving Retail Transformation, and I'm fortunate to be recognised as one of the world's top 10 retail thought leaders, thanks to Thinkers 360. Thank you so much for tuning into the episode today. If you are new to the show and you do enjoy listening, be sure to subscribe to catch new episodes every single week. And of course, please tell your colleagues and your contacts to tune in as well. So right now, Amazon Prime Day is mid-flow, and it's forecast to hit a record $14 billion in sales over the 2 days of the promotion. And that's an increase of over 10% on last year's equivalent event. So it's set to break new records and of course continue Amazon's massive growth trajectory over the long term. For me, it's going to be interesting to see how the results actually come out and use it as a bit of a bellwether for how consumer confidence and spending is looking in the build-up towards peak later on this year, of course. With gains by inflation reducing down and global economies beginning to stabilise, it's all set to drive good opportunity for retail businesses, in particular to focus on building margin. So let's see how that evolves. As usual, an action-packed show today. In just a moment, we're going to kick off with our News You Can Use feature. Plus, we've also got a double shopping trip for you today to explore retail around the world. And then a good news story to celebrate towards the end. But right now, let's think about News You Can Use, looking at the key news headlines from around the world, along with an action or a reflection point that you may choose to take away and turn that news into something you can use. Decathlon launched a new subsidiary business to act as an investment arm and drive growth and innovation. It's called Decathlon Pulse, and it will explore new ideas and opportunities and also support businesses that align to their corporate values and goals. It's being set up as a standalone business so it can be more agile and faster to make decisions and respond to industry trends or evolutions. And there are 3 defined goals for Decathlon Pulse. Firstly, to build and scale ideas that complement the core business. And this will be about unlocking elements like efficiencies and effectiveness. Secondly, it's to invest in highly innovative companies that will disrupt the sports ecosystem and drive sustainability benefits. So it's fantastic to see that happening. And then finally, the third goal is to acquire forward-thinking businesses and I quote this, trailblazing business models. So 3 interesting goals to really unlock Decathlon's innovative side. And actually, Decathlon refer to this initiative as a startup studio, which is intriguing terminology. But they're definitely looking to adopt more entrepreneurial ways of working and entrepreneurial speed as well. So what would it mean to your business to have a startup studio, using Decathlon's words there? A startup studio, what would it mean? Mango has released a campaign for their new collection, which has been entirely created by AI. The campaign features a photo shoot with models and new products, and it's astonishing to think that these have been completely computer generated. To create the images, the limited edition Sunset Dream products were first photographed in real life, And then a generative AI model was trained to learn how the different garments fitted the models or how the fabric flowed. Then the Gen AI model went to work, creating a selection of photos before a final stage where humans, we still have a role, humans edited and made tweaks to generate essentially the same high quality output pictures that a traditional photo shoot would create. Of course, AI has had more than its fair share of limelight over the last 18 months or so. But it's not just about automating these different tasks. It's about unlocking potential. And to illustrate, I'm going to quote Mango's Chief Information Technology Officer, Geordie Alex, who says, "Artificial intelligence is a technological revolution that presents great opportunities that should act as a co-pilot to extend the capabilities of our employees and further amplify our creativity. Because technology will either make us more human or it won't." So interesting thoughts there from Geordie Alex. And whilst I'm sure you've had plenty of conversations about AI, I would like to ask you, how are you challenging yourself and experimenting with new ideas? And could you use the idea of a co-pilot as inspiration for your next big experiment? Amazon is deploying Rufus, its generative AI shopping tool and shopping assistant, to all US consumers after it started trials earlier in 2024. Rufus allows customers to ask everyday questions in whatever way that they would like to do. Examples of real questions that have been asked to Rufus during the 6-month or so trial include: is this mascara a clean beauty product? What are the best lawn games for kids' birthday parties? What are denim trends for women? And of course, the classic, "where is my order?" question was also popular, and it demonstrates the use of a Gen AI tool that can be highly flexible and offer a convenient and fast way of finding out whatever information that customers are looking for. They don't need to go through different menus and account pages to be able to get to, for example, recent orders to find out where is my order. They don't need to reach out and have to confirm order numbers, for example, to discuss where is my order with a customer service agent. But at the same time, they can also access expertise, admittedly learned expertise, but all expertise is learned, I guess, across an infinite number of different product categories and types, and even sort of broad themes. And I particularly like how Amazon have done a great job in using their trial data and findings to highlight the flexibility of the system and the solution. So how could you use trial data with perhaps colleague feedback or customer feedback to help you promote your full concept as you look to deploy new changes and new initiatives? Walmart are focusing on automating their distribution centers and have revealed major plans to expand the amount of automation that they use. They've shared details about how their automated facilities manage and process through orders, and how they're unlocking the ability to double the volume and throughput of regular distribution centers. The newest iteration of automation is being used to transport and stow pallets. It extends 80 foot up into the air so that cases can be stored and retrieved on an individual basis. This then allows pallets to be created in a very specific order, and a system is being used to plan how the pallet is being built up to minimize damage, but also maximize store productivity. And then, of course, automation is being used to transport these store order pallets to the point of loading onto a trailer. And they're seeing great success, and they are looking to deploy this functionality further. Walmart have announced they are building 5 new automated distribution centers. They're also expanding 4 of their existing distribution centers and embedding a lot of these automation principles into those. And they're also retrofitting the technology and automation into other sites around the US as well. Now, upstream supply chain and logistics should be specialised to simplify the frontline operations, in turn to focus on getting the job done for customers. So how are you looking at automation across your entire warehouse estate and even upstream into the broader supply chain, suppliers, factories? How are you looking at all of those different elements and making decisions that focus on simplifying the frontline operations for colleagues and ultimately for customers? In Canada, Best Buy will open 167 small format convenience style stores in partnership with Bell Canada. These new small stores will of course be scaled down from their large traditional formats, and they're going to retain a number of features that customers would expect to see in Best Buy, including aspects like Geek Squad tech support and omni-channel collections. But interestingly, Bell Canada will operate the stores and manage the day-to-day business. Now, convenience stores offer great brand awareness. They present an important customer touchpoint and, of course, a hub for a number of different online activities. But they're tough and challenging to operate in many ways, with large numbers required, a broad geography covered, as well as a number of challenges around having small frontline teams, lots of exposure, and many other aspects. So I find it fascinating that Best Buy have decided to partner to enable these small stores. Essentially, it's a retailer outsourcing retail operations. Could this be an avenue for you? Is it sensible to be challenging every particular aspect of your business and operating model? At least speculatively. That's one to think about. In the UK, Ann Summers have announced the launch of a brand new online house of underwear at knickerbox.com. This is a lingerie-only website and introduces a new in-house brand called KBX, and that aims to elevate everyday underwear. The new site also features 14 additional brands which cover a whole range of different customer preferences and price points. And the initiative was kick-started and championed by the late Jacqueline Gold CBE. Now, I'm sure we've all spoken and thought about legacy, but what is the big idea that you are going to champion that truly leaves a legacy? And if that is not one of your main priorities right now, what would you need to change to put that legacy towards the top of your priority list? Boohoo is focusing on influencers and content creators, enabling them to curate a range of products and set up a personal storefront as part of the main Boohoo website. It's called the Boohoo Collective, and it offers creators the chance to unlock exclusive discounts as well as earn commissions on orders through their site. The initiative further blurs the lines between social commerce and traditional website-based e-commerce. And for customers, they can now shop a more authentic and slimmed down and relevant range chosen by their favourite influencers. And I think this is fantastic because it's very easy for range bloat to end up confusing consumers. But by using these influencers and creators to essentially do the curation for them, and, by the way, with a pre-existing audience that aligns to those curation principles, suddenly Boohoo can unlock a massive range, broad appeal, but also seem relevant and personalised to smaller customer segments. It's brilliant. So how can you use influencers and even your customers to help select and recommend and promote your brand and your products? Consider what's in it for them, and why should they, or their audience for that matter, why should they care? Vans are launching a second iteration of their Roblox world to celebrate the launch of a brand new shoe. The online place, creatively called Vans World 2, creates a location for their first shoe launch that launches in a virtual world before a physical world. Customers can equip their avatars with the shoe, but also embark in more games and fun and community building. Skateboarding remains a core focus in Vans World 2, with new tricks and moves available that allow players and customers to unlock new skating locations like Paris and Tokyo. They can earn points that allow them to customize their Roblox avatar and also earn a limited edition emoticon. Now, Vans were one of the first major brands to really start experimenting with Roblox back in 2021, as the hype for the metaverse really started to take off. But their Vans World remains a popular Roblox location and reached 100 million visits last year. Now, I'm sure you won't be surprised to learn that the metaverse hype was extreme. It was easy to get carried away with what the future would be. But I also encourage you not to be carried away and fall into the trap of thinking that the metaverse and digital universes are dead or irrelevant. Companies like Vans, Walmart, IKEA, and Gucci are continuing to experiment regularly. And perhaps it's presenting more opportunity than you might be thinking about right now. So is it time to consider dipping your toe back into the metaverse? So a really broad range of retail news stories this week. And now we're going to move on to our next segment, the shopping trip, where we reveal insights and thoughts based on great experiences, great stores, and great companies. And I've got a bit of a bonus for you today because there is not going to be just one shopping trip, but two. Perhaps you'd like a different perspective right now, so I'm keen to share some thoughts from Paola Macaggi, who is actually the star of episode 303 of the sister podcast to this show, The Retail Transformation Show. Paola is the founder and editor-in-chief of Offbounds, and this is a clip from Paola exploring the wonderful world of retail and the broad and varying and fantastic experiences that she has encountered on her various business trips and travels. So here is Paola Macaggi talking about the House of Rituals.
So there's this one in Amsterdam. This store is a four-story store. Like, it's huge. It's called House of Rituals. If you're not familiar, Rituals is it's I would call it a smell brand because it is cosmetic, but it's also like smells for your home, like candles and things like that. And their store is just incredible. I will tell about my experience there, and then I'll tell you why this is so successful. But you walk into the store and you're there like seeing the beautiful layout. You can touch, it's very sensory. You can touch things. You can try perfumes in a different way. You can do your own perfume. You have ways to customize everything. So that's the first and the second floor of the store. The third floor of the store is an actual spa where you can have your nails done. You can have a nice massage. You can have a skincare and etc. Everything with your products. The fourth floor is a mind spa where you can actually have a, what was the name I had? It was a brain massage. You can have a brain massage for 60 minutes.
Brain massage.
Yeah. So, see, that was an experience. I spent probably like 4 or 5 hours in that store, and it was just like a wow sensation. And the thing is, I had such an amazing experience that I was imagining like an extra zero in every product.
Yeah.
My experience was so premium and it was so amazing that it's ridiculous that I paid 30 euros for a 1 hour brain massage, you know, or that I pay 16 euros for a cream. Like, why not 160? Because I felt like if the perceived value of the brand was 160, but I was paying only 16.
Wow.
You understand?
Yeah. So that's a really interesting. So actually, by premiumizing the experience and, you know, adding on these additional services, essentially what Rituals has done in that House of Rituals store is leveled up the overall reputation of the brand, so they could conceptually raise prices as well thus opening up a massive margin, which would be really exciting, actually, to see what that break-even point is and whether, do you still feel the same experience on your 10th visit for your brain massage versus your first, for example. Fascinating.
Yeah, but that's like one store, right? Like it's one flagship store. It's in Amsterdam. I wonder if they'll ever replicate that in other countries, in other cities, because if you go to a retail store here in Lisbon, where I am now, it's just a nice store. But I'm loyal to the brand because I had that flagship experience. Can you leverage that flagship experience everywhere? That's the challenge.
And if you'd like to hear more from Paula, then do go and check out episode 303, number 303, from the Retail Transformation Show podcast, available in your usual podcast app. Now, I would love for you to subscribe to both this podcast and the Retail Transformation Show podcast. Both are launching new episodes every single week. And whilst we focus on timely and relevant and breaking news in this podcast, the Retail Transformation Show looks at more timeless concepts about the ever-evolving world of retail, as well as how you can navigate disruption and change. So I hope both podcasts can scratch a different itch for you. Now, I mentioned there were going to be 2 shopping trips to share with you today. So the second shopping trip features a company that was called out in last week's episode. And for this shopping trip, we're not going to a traditional bricks and mortar store. We're heading into the digital commerce universe and thinking more about social commerce. So today we're looking in at Made by Mitchell, which is a makeup and cosmetics brand founded only in 2020 during the COVID pandemic. They then moved into TikTok Shop in 2022 and have seen a massive explosion of growth as a result. Made by Mitchell has got 933,000 followers on TikTok, which dwarfs their Instagram follower count of 316,000. And just to paint a picture of how the world of social media is evolving, their Facebook followers are at a measly 4,000 people. Made by Mitchell recently made headlines by announcing that they had been the first British cosmetics brand to sell $1 million in a single day on the platform, equating to a new sale every single minute. They've recently launched into Boots, and their founder, Mitchell Halliday, has actually featured as a guest judge on a TV show this year, which gains more awareness for his personal brand as well as, of course, the business brand. Now, on TikTok Shop, live streams have been a particular speciality for the company. And Mitchell Halliday has announced that live streams were a huge part of their TikTok Shop growth. And he has been the face of many of these live streams. His name is right there in the company's name, right? And therefore it has been an authentic brand. Halliday has naturally wanted to be a performer. He's a former X Factor contestant, and whilst music wasn't the right path, it turns out cosmetics and makeup is. And he's been present on many of the Made by Mitchell live streams, featuring in-depth product knowledge and sort of understanding about the brand and the customer, as well as more commercial avenues such as flash sales and product launches. But Mitchell has recently announced that live streams have become a challenge as the business has grown. He, as the founder, has got limited time, as you would expect. And this could be a challenge for the company because with him as the founder and the face, it would be very easy to suddenly lose that authenticity, that personality. And they're expanding the live team to put more experts in front of the audience. My suspicion is that whilst the experts may be just as knowledgeable, maybe more knowledgeable than Mitchell Halliday himself, they're not going to have the same association with the brand, certainly not immediately. But what I think is clever here is that Mitchell Halliday recognises this, and he's announced that he's going to be starting regular all-day live streams running from 12 noon to 8 p.m. So whilst this may not be so convenient for all customers and it doesn't have the same frequency, it does offer plenty of shall we say, Mitchell FaceTime for the audience to consume. So live streams have been a massive part of the growth of Made by Mitchell, and I would absolutely encourage you to check the brand out on TikTok and see what their TikTok shop is all about. They really double down on inclusivity, using models and aspiring to influencers with many different skin tones and skin conditions. And as a result, they also have a broad range of products with different tints and shades to also cater for all of these different skin types. The live streams can lean into this. But the brand is also approachable and accessible, and demoing products make it super easy to understand what a different shade looks like, how the different product feels and works. So you, as an audience member, as a potential customer, feel like you could achieve the same results that you are seeing on screen. And with loads of influencers also sharing the products and the process of using the products, it puts the customer in the driving seat. The customer can achieve the same results. And that's fantastic. A great way of really demonstrating the power of the product and what it can achieve for the customer. So some fantastic elements for Made by Mitchell, but if I were to give a watch out or an area of focus, it would be the fact that the business is absolutely built on the success of a single channel, TikTok. And therefore, it is very fragile in nature. If TikTok were to suddenly decline for any particular reason, the business is in danger. If the business were to be found to violate TikTok's guidelines, they could be unceremoniously turfed off the platform. Now, of course, once you've got an element of scale, I would hope there was more of a conversation. But I still believe that only having success in a single channel is dangerous, but also a missed opportunity in today's modern day world. And whilst the expansion into Boots helps with this, I imagine that partnership would change very quickly if the TikTok hype disappeared. So my suggestion is that they could make so much more of their owned real estate in the form of their website and app. The brand comes through effectively, but the content doesn't. So how could they turn their own website and their own app into more of a content powerhouse that protects the brand, but also unlocks new customers that are not on TikTok, but would still really value the products? So if you've not checked out Made by Mitchell, head on over on TikTok. It's very easy to find. They've got their own hashtags, but I will also put a link on the show notes, which you can find at theretailshow.uk. If you've enjoyed today's show, please remember to hit subscribe and also tell your contacts, your colleagues, and your team members to listen in too. I hope it provokes some thinking and discussion at your end, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. And finally, before we wrap up the show, a positive story to celebrate. Amazon have achieved their renewable energy goal 7 years early. Their 2019 goal was to ensure that all electricity used was 100% renewable by 2030. And last year, 2023, they achieved that goal. Their power needs across the whole world are served by over 240 solar and wind farms, as well as nearly 300 on-site solar arrays on the top of their distribution centres. Amazon's Chief Sustainability Officer, Cara Hurst, says, "Reaching our renewable energy goal is an incredible achievement, and we're proud of the work we've done to get here 7 years early. We also know that this is just a moment in time, and our work to decarbonise our operations will not always be the same each year. We'll continue to make progress, while also constantly evolving on our path to 2040. Sustainability is not a competitive aspect. We're all in this, and we all win or lose together if we get sustainability right or wrong. And so the more we can learn from other companies and about their sustainability initiatives and successes, the better, in my opinion. And Amazon have announced a status update on all of their sustainability initiatives, so I'll put that on the show notes today. So head on over to theretailshow.uk, that's theretailshow.uk, and find out more about what Amazon are doing and perhaps what you could do too. So thanks so much for listening in to this episode of The Retail Show. I'll look forward to joining you next week as we continue to plot the evolutions of our industry through useful news and relevant views. Thanks for listening. Catch you soon. Bye.